Hi, everyone. So I'm James Duchenne. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Crowd Machine. And so just for a bit of context, Crowd Machine is attempting to leverage the spare resource capacity of devices, mobile phones, computers, laptops, and create a decentralized cloud computer. Now, what makes Crowd Machine interesting is that within that decentralized computer, it has effectively a zero-code software creation tool. What that means is that you're able to build complex mission-critical applications without coding. Currently, this software tool is being used by Fortune 500 companies, including GE, Aon Hewitt, and Anthem in the United States. What we've done over the past 2 years is effectively looked at how we can underlay this tool that was offered to the enterprise sector to open it up so that everyone can build faster, more efficient applications in the blockchain space. Within this crowd development tool, or the software builder, there is a component which is very like GitHub, which is a monetizable GitHub, so that when developers, and I use the term loosely, create behaviors of applications and software, they're able to place it in this repository, and if a third person actually utilizes this component and runs it on the network, they're going to get rewarded. So this is effectively, for context. In my speech today, you will see that I've mentioned decentralization, smart contracts, and blockchain. You couldn't find any three biggest buzzwords out there in anything in terms of what's actually happening in this space. And even when I look at this, which is basically an interest over time of those three words used in the media and in searches, you can see right now that blockchain is actually far outpacing decentralization as a term, as well as smart contract as a term. Yet I think it's not about blockchain. It is about decentralization. Because what's effectively happening is that we have hierarchical structures and models being disrupted to a decentralized ecosystem. So I could effectively just keep mentioning these three words, which is what you hear out there in the press and when people talk about this industry. So it's important first, when we look at these three terms, that we look at exactly what's happening out there in terms of the business that's being created to look after the sharing economy. And the sharing economy is community-centric. So we start with the community, we start with the networks, and we have to understand that consumers and service providers can often be the same thing. You can drive an Uber and still use an Uber, right, as a service. And what we're seeing out there as well is that skills are being applied across industries. I'm sure in the room, since we're at TOKEN2049, that you will see that there's marketers giving opinions about legal matters, that you're seeing technologists give opinion about marketing, so on and so forth. So what is really important here, I believe, is that we understand the type of people, the type of business hierarchies that we're dealing with, and the way that they're being migrated to a decentralized ecosystem. So I mentioned that it was about decentralization. People, I think, often confuse blockchain with decentralization. Blockchain is a utility. It is used to persist information into. It is a tool that allows for a certain consensus to be achieved around a state of affairs. It is not trustless. You still trust that the mathematics behind it is correct. You still trust that the network maintaining the system is doing their job. They're doing their job. So when I look at blockchain, the first thing to understand is that blockchain is a utility. We've got this thing about smart contracts today that we're going to effectively create contracts without a central arbiter. And the trend that we're seeing is that a number of ventures out there are trying to smash so much into the smart contract layer that they're creating errors. And creating errors with smart contract is effectively basically locking up value, and you have the ability to look at something that has maybe millions of dollars, maybe billions, and if you make a mistake, it is a mistake forever. So one of the lessons that I'd like to share is don't overload smart contracts. So poor design, there's another reason for it, is that poor design also increases cost, gas costs, compute cycle costs. So if you add these two together, it becomes clear that if you are using smart contracts to build whatever sort of project out there, introducing complexity can have catastrophic results. So what are the problems, at least from our perspective, that we're looking at this industry today? The first one, which is quite interesting, is that there is a lot of hype in terms of what this industry can achieve. Yet, for every 14 open spots for blockchain developers, only one is filled. And that basically means that we have a resource issue. So we are growing as an industry over the next 5 years. It is stated at about 16 times, and we've got a 14x deficit already. How do we catch up? How do we bring the capabilities of what we have to the forefront, and how do we service the promises made by an industry? So a few things needs to happen. You need to be able to either code or either build software faster, or you need to dampen the expectations. It's mathematically either one or the other. In terms of the other problem as well is scalability. And a special shout out for CryptoKitty today, because it showed how clogged a network like Ethereum can get once you try to smash too much into the blockchain and into trying to run too much at that low level sort of utility. So for me, the promised land looks like this. We have the ability to do a decentralized or a utility from the smart contract or the blockchain level, but yet we push complex tasks still in a centralized environment. Amazon AWS, Microsoft Azure, most of the blockchain applications are being hosted in those environments. As we move forward in time, we're starting to see decentralized storage. We're starting to look at an application that is centrally stored, decentralized storage, and using blockchain and smart contract as the decentralized base layer. And where we're moving, I believe, is towards the decentralized cloud or cloud computer, where not only is the application decentralized, the blockchain obviously is already there, and the storage as well. And that basically creates a full decentralized stack. So the next big cloud. One of the things that I think about when I look at this is how do we get to the next evolution? We first had Bitcoin immutability, Ethereum flexibility, and now we're talking about decentralized cloud computer. Right? We can leverage billions of devices. We can provide an inclusive system by designing an architecture or a framework that involves everyone to participate in providing a decentralized cloud hosting around a rewards mechanism that we already have had a number of years of experience with tokenization. So one of the things as well, which is really important, is that there is a lot of hype where people promise beautiful, great applications out there. And really, when we look at this, is it has to be realistic. Large companies, enterprises will not switch immediately to a decentralized type of cloud storage. It will not switch immediately to an adoption from an environment that still benefits from some regulatory clarity issues. So there is a process of migration. And the process of migration, first for me, is that we need to resolve some of the problems. So we need to be able to build solutions faster. We need to abstract away the different types of environment and the different types of languages, whether it's Solidity, Simplicity on Bitcoin, and have the ability to code once or build once and persist in whatever blockchain in an agnostic manner as possible. Because that will offer speed to market, and that will be able to address some of the limitations that we see today in the marketplace. We also need to acknowledge that there are centralized solutions and decentralized solutions out there. And instead of actually forcing one way or another, we probably should offer the choice of centralized solution, whether it's a cloud hosting solution or a decentralized one, and allow the market to choose. Over time, the best will win. The faster, the most efficient, the most cost-effective. And through this process, we can solidify communities around a sharing economy in a way that they are empowered to participate in this ecosystem. So some concluding remarks here. So if you have to take a few points from what I said today, what I tried to share, is that decentralization is the name of the game. Blockchain is a utility. Don't overload smart contracts. Errors are costly. Errors can be catastrophic, especially where there's the locking in of consideration or value. The next big thing is very likely to be the decentralized cloud. It's the next evolution in terms of a decentralized application stack. We need to build software in a blockchain agnostic way. We need to look at the different types of blockchain solutions that we have out there and use them for what they're worth, whether it's speed, immutability, or otherwise. And evolution, at the end of the day, must be grounded in reality. Thank you.